As a new member of the ILP, we approach it in a very professional manner. So number one, we assign a industrial liaison officer to your company, to your account. Each officer has a limited number of companies, and their job is to really understand deeply the technology and other needs of the company as they could relate to MIT. So on the one hand, they need to come up with a business plan with that company that identifies what areas will we explore, what are the objectives of the company, how are we going to implement that over the year. On the other hand, because they are so familiar with the MIT campus and our research here, it's very easy for them to identify in a highly targeted and productive way who are the faculty resources, the research resources that can be brought to bear in a very efficient and productive manner on the needs of the companies. So in that sense, it's almost like having your own advocate on campus, that the officer acts as your institutional navigator, as your relationship manager, as someone who's available for questions that may pop up, but is more strategic in their approach with the company of how are we going to take advantage of this great knowledge engine that is MIT. Our approach to member services is highly customized. We like to have a senior champion in the organization who can help us define the objectives of the company with respect to MIT. Now, that may be a very targeted plan for a limited number of senior executives through individualized meetings and so forth. But that could also be complemented by a larger set of activities that more broadly provide value to the organization through our conferences, attendance at conferences, through our members-only website, through the various research reports that we design and deliver to our members based upon their requests, through referrals to other members as appropriate. So there are a whole series and other ways that the ILP can provide value to a company in as targeted or as broad an approach as that company desires. But the key point is that we custom tailor that relationship to address the needs of the company as MIT can add value to those needs. In addition to the customized services we provide to our members, there are a whole set of, I would say, more broad-based programs that we make available to the members, including our conferences and workshops, including discounts to executive educational programs, discounts to technical training and educational programs as well. Special invitation attendance at workshops that are closed to others on campus by various departments, labs, and centers. We also help with companies that are interested in recruiting by providing introductions and space for recruiters to come and work to recruit everyone from our masters out of the Sloan School of Management to masters from engineering to PhDs to the undergraduate population. So we provide a full service set of services to members, again, depending upon their interest in accessing MIT. People sometimes ask, well, why can't I just access directly MIT faculty? Why do I need an industrial liaison program? Why do I need someone to help with that facilitation? And I think one of the answers to that question is people are very, very busy. So if you take some of the leading faculty members at MIT, they get incredible numbers of requests from corporate officials, from government officials, from academics, from around the world. They don't have the bandwidth to respond to all of those requests. That's where the relationship that the ILP has developed with those faculty comes into play. Those faculty are receptive to taking meetings from our corporate members because they grew up using the ILP when they were younger faculty members. They want to contribute back to the community of supporters of MIT. So they're open to those meetings, even when there's not a specific targeted deliverable that will come out of that meeting. Another way that the faculty show their support for the program is their participation in our major conferences and events. Many of the conferences you put on draw 300-400 people at a time. Our senior faculty like that kind of exposure. They want to be sharing the results of their research, their perspectives on the world with a technical, well-informed audience that can understand and appreciate what their research is all about. So we find in our conferences and other events a great interest on the part of our faculty to participate in those. So that's another value added that our program brings to our members, is they're able to see the academic leaders of MIT in settings where those leaders are discussing the results of their research and then are available to meet and talk after their presentations with executives at the breaks. Frankly speaking, many companies have great difficulty in accessing all of the resources at MIT. MIT is a complicated institution, a very interdisciplinary institution. We have 5 schools, over 20 departments, and on the order of 65 or more interdisciplinary laboratories and centers. So for companies that are not familiar with MIT, their question is, well, we know there's a lot going on in MIT that of potential relevance to our company, but how do we access it? How do we find the right experts? How do we raise faculty awareness of our problems so that faculty can think about working on the research challenges that we have? How do we identify the right programs of this mix of 100+ labs, research centers, departments, 900 faculty, 2,300 individual researchers? How do we know where to go? How do we know how to spend our time productively? That's where our office, through the Industrial Liaison program and the individualized attention of our officer core, is able to help companies be productive and impactful in their relationship with the Institute. In general, I would say that most of our members partner with MIT to address strategic innovation in their company. So when we start a membership, our officers make it a point to meet with the executives in the company that are concerned about strategic innovation and about how their company is going to pursue the technological advances that are core to their competitiveness in the years ahead. So we ask questions like, who are your R&D partners currently? How do you leverage and develop your employee capabilities and knowledge in their company? How will new technologies impact your industry? Will your strategic focus keep you competitive over the next 3 to 5 years? These are the kind of questions that we ask of our companies to get a deeper, more comprehensive insight into what are the questions that really are core and critical to their success in being innovation and research leaders in the decades ahead. Other questions we might ask early on, and frankly that we continue with companies year in and year out as we assemble our annual plan with the company, are what strategies are currently underway in your R&D or technology acquisition approaches? What's worked? What hasn't? How is technology strategy developed in your company? Who ultimately decides and prioritizes your approach to innovation? What are the consequences of the wrong strategic choices being made? What is the timeline for new products? Determining factors. And then we think about, well, how then does that strategy, how can we best bring to bear the resources of MIT to address those type of questions? And that's a highly customized and individualized process. And that individualization and that knowledge is something that differentiates the ILP from any other program at universities in the world. And I believe that's the major reason why, obviously, built upon the huge impact and constant innovation of MIT, that makes our program allowed us to survive and prosper over these past decades. Many companies ask me, well, what benefits can I expect from being a member of the Industrial Liaison program? And I think there are many. One is just the ability to monitor disruptive technologies, be aware of emerging technologies that could impact the business going forward. Others can be more practical, like discovering new technologies that strengthen existing businesses or business processes. Other companies have used it to validate or invalidate some key investment decisions, perhaps in technologies that they're not totally familiar or comfortable with, and they want a third-party, unbiased view of that technology, the kind of advice they can get from a faculty expert that has no particular bias one way or the other. So there are short-term technical problems that can be addressed through a relationship with MIT, as well as the longer-term strategic thinking that's essential to R&D strategy, to planning on 3 to 5 year time frames. Other benefits include access to the students for recruiting purposes, or the development of customized training programs with targeted faculty delivering individualized programs to our members. So it really goes across a whole spectrum, from the long-term strategic business or technical thinking that companies do, to shorter-term training and practical answers to practical questions about business processes and technologies.